All right, boys and girls, welcome back here. Thanks for sticking around with me here this evening. And thank you for taking that next step, watching the second portion of our nightly newsletter. Now it's time to grab some charts. Today's Tuesday evening, time to get ready for Wednesday. Before we talk about charts here today, though, I do want to encourage you guys. There are two specific locations here on our homepage at School of Trade. First of all, if you have not registered for our free trial yet, you definitely want to do that. I get a special invitation to come out and join us in the trade room this week. I've also got all the who, what, where, when, and why recorded sessions from our trade room. It's all there in the free trial, so check it out. And then down bottom here, you'll notice our nightly newsletter. If you give us your name and your email address, you can register for our nightly newsletter. Very, very easy way to make sure you get this newsletter delivered to your email box every single evening around 8 o'clock Eastern Time. All right, so check out the website, schooloftrade.com, and register for the free trial up top there. You can learn more about all of our different educational classes, and we also have, of course, that newsletter sign-up form down the lower right-hand corner. All righty, let's keep rocking here. First things first, starting out with the black gold here today. Little crude oil futures had a very sloppy day today after having a pretty wide range yesterday. Very interesting, had a gap down here overnight. This gap down was courtesy of that concern over the Chinese currency issues, really pushed that price lower. But you're going to see here real quickly, though, this didn't last very long. So two-day relationship was bearish. We had a very typical trading range today. No real clues out of the size of the range today. But biggest clues here were the close and the volume. You'll notice the closing print today up near the highs. And the volume here today, the volume footprint up near the highs too. So we get a bullish close of the day, and we get bullish clues heading into tomorrow. This was after a big gap down, and you'll see here just a little bit to go here to fill that gap, and then up to where we closed yesterday at 102.80. So if my eyes are correct on this, it looks like the volume and the closing print are signaling us long here into tomorrow. We'll have to wait and see what happens tomorrow, but I'm looking for an opening print above 101.96, and I'm bullish tomorrow. Opening print below 101.02, and I'm bearish tomorrow. This morning we saw right away that opening print below, which gave us a bearish clue lower. We were selling short on crude, almost down to that prior low a day there at 192, but then it reversed late in the morning and then ended up closing towards its highs. So again, I'm going to focus tomorrow morning on what the opening print looks like. If it's above the 101.96, I'm looking to be a buyer. Below the 101.02, looking to be a seller. Remember, though, we'll have to wait to see an entry pattern in that direction. We do not just jump in buying or selling. We do have to wait for an entry pattern once we see the opening bell tomorrow. You can see, though, prior week's high all the way back there, 103.05. So if that news out of China last night into this morning, if that's the only reason why it pushed price down, we're probably going to see a bullish move here overnight, possibly all the way back up to that 103 even level where we got stuck in the mud last week. If not, though, we may see this thing continue to fall lower here down to that big round number of 100. You can see we got the 100 big round number now is right within our sights here. Open below 101.02, prior week low at 137. It's just a hop, skip, and a jump until we're right back to 100 even. So don't say I didn't warn you, getting back to that big round number at 100. Looking bullish, though, as I close up the VIP chart. Moving forward, though, looking at the anchor charts here on crude right now, we can see here is the 34 anchor, and you can see on this chart here we got some resistance levels here overhead. We've been talking about this for a few days. 101.81 up to 104.34. That, of course, creating some resistance here in the 34. I've got 105.01 and then more up top here at 107.95. I also have major support down here at 97.26. Now, really all I'm going to use this chart for is to see, am I running right into resistance? Yes, I am. I'm right at this 101.81 resistance level right here. So we're going to see if we're going to push higher or push lower. But on these slower anchor charts, really what I'm looking for here is am I running into any major turning points? Right now, yes, we are, 101.81. So tomorrow, we'll have to wait and see how this level reacts tomorrow morning. Moving faster, though, we go to our 21 anchor. The 21 anchor, you can see here, much different scenario here. Now, it's looking pretty sideways here. You can see we made a little swing high here, made a higher high here, made a lower low here. So you can see we're looking a little bit sideways here. We caught a little bit of support off this prior high around that 101 you can see. So that's a good sign, but ultimately though, we really got some trouble here. You'll notice I've got a bearish cloud. We have a lower low. I'd like to be looking short right now, but the problem is I've got this weird collection of moving averages, so I'm not having a very easy job to get short right now. Okay, if I was below all the key moving averages, I would say looking to get short right now, but we're not. We're stuck between the 2-3 different moving averages there. Trying to go long here, I'm going to have to get a new higher high here to then want to go long. So right now I am range bound, which means looking to buy lows and sell highs. So I'm looking to buy the 102.29. I'll also look to buy the 100.04. That's another spot to be a buyer down bottom. I'm going to buy 101.29. I'll buy 100.04. I'm going to sell 102.24 and sell 102.93. So that's going to be the range bound market. Now, once we get a new higher high, then I can start looking at buying again, right? In the long term, of course. And then below this 177, there might be some room here. You can see 77 down to 04. So you've got about 70 ticks there. Got about 70 ticks between those two levels. So you might be able to get a short here, getting below 177 down to 104. You know me, though. I'm always pretty conservative with this stuff. I'm going to wait to buy this level. If for some reason we don't bounce off it, if we go right through it, that's when below 99.66 or 99.60, I'm then looking to get short here. Okay, so most important thing is, as we go lower, I'm buying these lows. As we go higher, I'm selling these highs. Again, you can see pretty much a sideways range. We get some flattening of the moving averages. I'm stuck in the mud here between these two moving averages. We might get a good short off this 102.24. Tough to say, but definitely want to take some profit there at the 101.29. Again, I'm going to sell at resistance. I'm going to buy at support until I figure out who has control of this price action right now. And then looking further here at the 13 range on our crude oil chart, we can see here's that spot here for us. Look for shorts. So it looks bearish right now, but again, as you saw on the VIP chart, it's a pretty neutral right now as far as I'm concerned. My biggest job right now is going to be to sell this 102.24. So this would be a great spot to be a sell here, 102.24. On the way down, I got targets at 101.02. Targets the lows of this channel, and then I've projected a possible target down here. It's difficult to predict right now because we haven't seen the actual move, but if we do end up selling short at 102.24, my target will be at 99.79, which you can see is right below that prior week low at 99.91. So we'll say big round number, 100, going to be a great target for you down here. All right, if you can get into that short here at 102.24. All right, so looking bearish here on the 13. Another spot to sell short, 102.93. In fact, this would be the ideal location here. And again, these are both the same levels that we found on the 21 anchor. Okay, so once again there, I've got 102.24. I've got 102.93. I would also have no problem selling the high of this bearish channel, as you can see here. So we have a couple different spots there for you guys to be short. Again, I'm looking at the 100 big round number as my target for the runner. I'm also going to be taking some profit off at this 101.02, and I'll also be watching the low of this channel depending on where we are, right? If it takes a while to get down to that low of the channel, then clearly that'll be a little bit lower than if it goes straight down to the lows of the channel. So be ready here tonight for shorts at 102.24, 102.93. If we get above 103.17, that's when we should start seeing this thing take off the upside again. Above 103.17, I've got to get back to buying again on crude. Okay, that does it for your black gold. How about the gold? Gold futures had a very, very big day today, big range day today. No, maybe not that big of a day, but it was, in comparison to the Russell and crude, it was a pretty big mover today. The day got started today on the downside after we had news. The day began today with an opening print inside, if I can get myself to speak correctly, We began today inside the range today, but that didn't last very long. And remember, whenever we see an inside print, right, we opened up this morning inside yesterday's range, we're always looking for two-sided trading. We found a great reversal point right in the middle of that range today, and we were able to make some pretty good money on that gold this morning after it reversed. And then once it reversed, we quickly saw those bulls take control, and then we're looking for buying opportunities the rest of the morning today. It was a relatively easy day on gold. Got a little bit sloppy there, middle of the morning, around 10 o'clock, and then it just kind of jumped up a little bit higher after that. Bottom line, though, is we get a 2-day higher relationship. The range was relatively typical, pretty neutral. We get a bullish closing print and volume here right in the middle. So very interesting. Looks like a two-sided day to me. 1343.6. We get above that tomorrow morning at 8:20 a.m. I'm looking to be a buyer. Tomorrow morning, 8:20 a.m., we get the opening bell below 33.7. I'm looking to be a seller. We got this gap down bottom here. We still have not filled yet. So if we get a print below the 33.7, we should be able to get that gap filled pretty quickly, and then we're down to 13.19, which is the low from last Friday. So again, opening print above 43.6. I'm looking for buys. Not a guarantee we're going to buy, but we'll look for buys. Opening print below 33.7. Not a guarantee we sell short, but we are going to be looking for selling opportunities, though, with an opening print below yesterday's or today's range. As you can see, we get the previous week's high there at 29.3. Again, closing print right at the highs here today, but the volume was right near the middle. So it's pretty much a neutral type day, slightly toned to the bullish side, but overall, though, a very neutral day. We'll see the 43.6. If we get an opening print above that tomorrow morning, we're looking good, right, to be bullish. Moving forward here real quickly here, 34 anchor here on gold. We can see we have bounced off that resistance zone we were talking about earlier. Last week we talked about having some resistance here at 1328.6. That didn't last very long. Now we're cooking higher. I've got levels overhead here at 63 and 68.6. Those will be the next major resistance levels overhead. Actually, I've got 47.3, 63.0, 68.6, and 97 even. Those are our levels here. Those are our major turning points on the anchor chart 34. So this is a very slow time frame. I've got 47.3 is up overhead. That'll be my next big resistance level overhead on gold. And then don't forget, keeping on moving faster here now, I have a short-term channel on my 21 anchor. Okay, you can see that channel here on the 21 anchor. And with that short-term channel, I want to be a buyer near the lows of that channel. You can see what a great opportunity here. Went up, pulled back to the lows. That was a great opportunity there for a wave long earlier in the session this week. And then what I'm looking for now is on my 21 anchors is I want price. Where am I right now in the 21 anchor? I'm overbought. I'm at a premium, right? Price at a discount down here. Price at a premium up here. I want to buy at a premium. No, excuse me. I want to buy at a discount. I want to sell at a premium. Okay, sorry about that. So what I want is I want price to make its way back lower here to this 34.8, 32 even. I want to find a way to buy this thing now closer to the low of this range. So that's really the only thing I got to wait for now on gold is I don't want to buy right at this premium price. So gold looks pretty bullish here in the 21 anchor. I'm going to be a buyer, but I want to see it pull back a little bit further before I get buying. How about the 13? Now we're talking. Now we have all the specifics that we need. So we saw on the 21, we have this big, larger channel. On the 13, though, we find a much narrower channel. This is a much more recent, more short-term channel. And you can see now we've outlined the exact levels that we're looking to be a buyer. I want to buy 37.5. I want to buy 33.9. If I get below 32.6, we're off to the races now looking for a sell. Okay, so price right now on gold is bullish. We can see this bullish trend. We can see, though, that we're priced at a premium right now. I would rather wait for price to pull back off those highs. Give me a chance to buy this 37.5. And then I have targets overhead here at 44.8, 47.3, and 52.4. Again, as you can see here, we got targets waiting for you overhead. They're on gold. and a great opportunity to buy there at the 37.5 or at the 33.9, right? Two easy levels there for me to be a buyer. We may not pull back into it. If we don't pull back and we start making new highs, I'll have to wait again for another pullback before I get into the trade here on gold, right? Do not buy anything at those highs, right? Buy it on a pullback. Buy it at a discount, right? That's the only time I want to be a buyer. Last but not least here, on the mighty Russell, can't forget about those E-minis. E-minis went right back to their all-time highs yesterday, pulled back off the all-time highs, and today, because of that wide range yesterday on the Russell, we expected to see a much more narrow range today, and that's exactly what we got. Two-day relationship, sideways or neutral. Range is somewhat typical, pretty wide, but it's relatively typical for Russell. Closing print in the middle. Volume profile in the middle. As if we needed another clue here to tell that we're sideways right now after tagging those all-time highs again. Now remember, yesterday on Monday, I wasn't here on Monday, but we came in this morning and we looked at the opening bell analysis and we saw that yesterday's range was very, very wide. That told us today's range was likely to be much more narrow. We then also saw an opening print right in the middle. I mean, literally directly right smack dab in the middle. That was a first big clue. We have a sideways range today. The second big clue was the fact that by an hour into the session, we were still right in the middle. We hadn't gone anywhere an hour into that session today. So it was a very easy clue. All it took us was a few minutes just to read the tape, read the price action, and that told us right away what type of day it was likely to be today. And then with that information, we simply looked for reversals, we looked for fake out breakouts, and we stayed away from looking for trends. All right, guys? So as you can see on my opening bell analysis of the VIP chart, neutral, 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 neutral. Everything here is pegged sideways. It's going to be an interesting scenario tomorrow, guys, what happens on the Russell. If we open up above 79.5, we're looking for buys. If we open up below that 63.8, we're bearish and looking for sells. Anything pretty much inside of Monday's range will be considered an inside day. If we open up inside Monday's range, I'm looking to buy the lows, sell the highs, right? Because that's exactly how we treat a range-bound market. So look for price to break out either above 79.5 or below 63.8 for the biggest clues tomorrow morning for a big breakout range day. If not, if we open up inside today's range or inside yesterday's range, we will assume that means more sideways ranges. Now remember, sideways ranges are not a deal killer. There's nothing wrong with that. It just means I have to execute the strategy that applies to that. If I'm trying to trade a trend following strategy on a range bound day, I'm going to have a very difficult time doing that. So the first things first tomorrow morning, I'm going to analyze the opening bell. The first thing to look at is where do we open up? If we open up outside the range, that's a big clue. After I look at the opening bell, then I read the first 15 to 20 minutes to see what the opening bell analysis tells me. That's where we get the big clue. And that's where today's clue told us in the Russell that we were foolish looking for trends, right? We stayed focused on reversals. Moving forward here on the Russell now to my 34 anchor. The 34 anchor, you can see we're right back up here to that big high there, 1180, 1181.2. So we're right back up to that 1181.2. That's the high from yesterday. And if you go back in time a little bit here, you can see, yep, we are at them all times there, guys, at 81.2. So right up there at the highs once again. We backed off the highs yesterday, but now we're right back up to them again, once again here on Russell. Looking relatively bullish on this very long-term slow anchor chart. All-time highs. I apologize. All-time highs there from the 22nd of January. So almost, a little bit more than a month later, we're right back to those highs again. You can see, though, we get a little bit overbought here. We're above all the moving averages. Most important thing you need to be aware of right now is I've got some support here at 28.8, but the big number here is 81.2. That's the major support. Okay, don't be surprised if we get some buyers entering the market above that 81.2. Then above that, I get a channel here up top, and I have 27.9, right? That would be some very wishful thinking there for those Russell buyers. Keeping on moving here now, over to my 21 range now. Here's my 21. We get a lot more important information on this 21 range. The 21 range now, very, very important. This one gives us that bullish channel. You can see the bullish channel, pretty easy to spot there. But the most important thing that I see is the fact that we have some great opportunities to buy here. I've got the 60.3 and 49.3. These are spots I'm looking to buy. I would love to look for a buy here at 60.3, and then I have targets up top here. Again, we're going to make sure we use that 79, 84.6, and 96.4. These will make for some great profit targets here overhead. So I got a bullish channel. You can see, though, for the most part, though, today, we pretty much stayed sideways for today, at least after 9:30 when the Russell opened up. Tomorrow, though, we'll be going higher. Who knows? Again, looking for a buy here at 60.3. I will also look for a buy here at 49.3, right? So 49.3, 60.3, those zones right there. And then we got targets up top here, 79.4, 84.6, and 96.4 for that Russell. And then last but not least here, in the short term, here's my shortest anchor chart. And this is a great example of what we saw today. You can now see on an anchor chart just how sideways the day really was today. It was pretty sideways. Again, in the long term, though, it looks pretty darn bullish, doesn't it? But if you zoom in on this area here, you'll see these were sideways and very consolidating here back towards their all-time highs. So here's the plan. We're definitely bullish right now. But in the short term, though, we've got to be careful because we got this wedge. We got this lower highs, higher lows. So what I would be doing right now is I would be focused on buying the 69.6. We've already done it once, twice. If we do it again, I'll give you one more shot here to go higher. So buying that 69.6. And then overhead, now basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to buy the 9.6. I'll buy the 3.9. So any of these levels I can use as buys here. If we go higher here, I have to be concerned about a fake out breakout up to that 78.7. So be worried about that 78.7 holding. Get me above 78.7, and now I can start getting aggressively long here, 88.4 and 93.8 overhead. All right, guys? So right now, long term is bullish on Russell. In the short term, though, we are very range bound. We're very consolidating here. So what I want to do is, in the short term, I can buy lows and I can sell highs of this wedge. Specifically here, you can see the high of this day today at 78.7. And then you can see the low of the day was here at 68.2 or so. So in essence, we can be buying lows and selling highs all we want here. But the long-term trend being bullish, I'm going to focus my attention here on buying this 69.6 with a profit target overhead at 88.4. I will also have to make sure that if we go to the top of that channel, make sure you take some profit off at the top of this bullish channel. And I got one more target up there at 93.8. So we're bullish on Russell, but remember, we don't want to just buy anywhere. Timing is everything. I'm going to buy in this range here from 69.6, 67.2. I'm going to buy in the range below it at 63.9 down to 61.9. Those would be two spots to be a buyer here. Remember to want to be careful here. If we don't pull back, if we go higher, get me above 78.7. Get me above that high of day, 78.7, and then look to be a buyer. Remember, we're not buying at the highs or buying at discounts. So if we do happen to go higher here without pulling back, not to worry. Use that 787 as support and look to buy right as it pulls back here above that high. All right, I'm looking to buy right at that 78.7 as it pulls back on the way up to that 88.4. All right, guys. So sideways here in the overnight session on Russell right now. Again, bullish in the long term though, so we're still buying these Z-minis, but don't buy those highs. Buy at support. Buy at a discount. Buy after it pulls back. And remember, at any time you need more information, come out and join me Monday through Friday at 8 a.m. Eastern Time, my live trade room. We open up that live trade room every morning at 8 a.m. Eastern Time. And don't forget, you can get a free trial of that right on the old website at SchoolOfTrade.com. I get a special invitation for you to come out and join me in my trade room in the afternoon. So it's been a great Tuesday newsletter with you guys. I hope you guys see value in this presentation tonight. Don't forget to send me your feedback. Don't forget to post comments below the video. And let me know how you guys like the new format with 2 different videos. A little bit easier for me to do each evening, and it might be easier for you to use it. Signing off now from Los Angeles, our corporate headquarters of School of Trade. Thank you guys and gals for being here tonight. Have yourselves a great Wednesday. Come out and see me in the trade room tomorrow, 8 a.m. Eastern Time. Remember to learn it so you can earn it. Adios, amigos. Bye-bye for now.